Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Cucco Attack. We are fresh in the middle of E3. Most of the presentations, well, I guess all the presentations are over now.
Yeah.
Now we've kind of just got some straggling stuff coming out, little, smaller developers announcing some stuff, smaller companies having demos of stuff like Hyperkin. I mean, they're pretty big for the retro community, but they're pretty small overall. Some of their stuff still getting announced here and there. Konami made a little announcement last night. We'll get into that. But
And I'm Patrick Hughes, by the way. This person you were hearing here was Chad Hembrock.
yeah, oops. I don't introduce myself very often, or the people that are with me or associated with me. So, but yeah. So let's get right into it because we have a lot to talk about. So
Yeah. We'll cover a few big announcements that happened like the week before E3 that are worth mentioning.
Yeah. So yeah. Do you want to get into that right now?
Yeah. Let's probably start with Pokemon Sword and Shield because they had a direct on June 5th, just before E3 was about to get into gear. And I think the biggest takeaway that we were both impressed with is they seem to be dipping their toes into open world Breath of the Wild kind of style and Pokemon we've always dreamed of, being able to wander around and actually like rotate the camera.
Yeah. So that was something that like I even to this day, I'm gonna admit it, like I haven't watched the Pokemon Direct from June 5th. So I heard people talking about it, but people are like, oh, you gotta check it out. And I saw the thing about the was it the Dynamax? Is it Dynamax Pokemon or
Yeah,
Dyna something?
that was also a thing, which is fine. It's a little gimmicky thing, like your mega evolutions and stuff. Doesn't
Yeah.
really impress me as much.
So I saw people posting about that on Facebook, and
Yeah, it makes for great memes.
yeah, all
So
the memes of like yeah, all
my
that stuff.
my favorite Werelord, if he becomes Dynamax, he just like crushes the entire planet.
Yeah, that's actually the one I was thinking about. so, um, so yeah, I saw that, and my friends are talking about it. Again, I never watched it. I think it was just I forgot when it aired, and I think I was at work and something was going on. I just didn't have a chance to watch it. But I saw the open world part during the Nintendo Direct that was shown at E3. They just showed a very small clip, and I see this open area running around, and there's like Pokemon full size out in the world. I was like, this is awesome. So
It's so good.
I'm really excited to check that out. I haven't bought a Pokemon game. I bought Let's Go, but before that even was like, I think Ruby on GBA was probably the last one I actually purchased. So I don't know. This one for me, it's always tough to like get into a Pokemon game, just because it's not my favorite game. But I might check it out just to at least check out that part. Um,
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by it, and
yeah,
it seems like they have a lot of cool ideas that they're doing with it. Apparently, like different Pokemon come out like during different weather conditions and stuff,
mm,
and there are these like raid spots where you and like other players can join together to fight like giant
yeah.
Pokemon,
I heard about that
which
as
I thought
well.
was a cool team playing kind of
Yeah, it's like a
aspect.
team
So
thing that it's kind of like a mix of like Pokemon Go. You're having these actual like raids now, but you're actually playing with people online. And
mhm.
I think they said if I think don't quote me, but I think they said something about if there weren't like online players, you would have like computer help, like a computer trainer or something like that to help you. I feel like I heard that somewhere.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. And I saw a meme today that it was like if you're in the open world and you run into a Machoke, it'll run after you to fight you. And I thought that was pretty funny. So
uh,
yeah, I don't know. That the open world's really interesting, and it would be really neat to see how that works, and if they end up, even if it's not a mainline game, they do a spin-off that's open world would be really cool.
yeah. I'm just happy that they're like at least trying it, dipping their toes, because they it's a nice mix of traditional and this new style. But if I think it receives well, I think we could see this going in a bigger direction.
Yeah. So yeah, that covers that. I guess the next thing that kind of came out right before E3, like I guess E3 officially started yesterday, didn't it? Wasn't that like the
Is
official
this
start date?
kind of, yeah.
No, yeah, I don't know, but
Sunday was the first press conference, and then yeah, I guess the show floor opened Monday or
gotcha.
Tuesday. I think Monday was just press.
So it was last Friday, I think. Google
Yeah, yeah.
Stadia dropped their details. So Google Stadia is Google's streaming video game service. They announced it a couple months ago. They did a presentation on it, showing that it was gonna the future of gaming kind of thing. And they basically are gonna let you play anything, anywhere, on any device, in 4K, utilizing a minimum bandwidth speed of 25 megabits per
I
second.
think they've since increased that, but around there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 25 last when they initially talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So they dropped the pricing details, and so for right now, you will have to buy your games through the Google Stadia platform. So you'll still be, spending full price on your game.
Mhm.
However, you can play on any hardware, which is the key for this. As long as it works well, this could be the future of gaming. It really could be. Um, Not that everyone's going to like that, and not that everyone's going to have that speed or have that ability to use it, but
Mhm.
being able to play a game from 2020 on my 2010 laptop in full high definition with zero lag is going to be huge if they're able to pull that off. Um, so we'll see what happens, but real quick, let's run over the additions that they're dropping. So first, we'll go over the free model. So they have a free model that's supposed to be coming out that is basically, like I said, you buy the game through the platform,
And
and
then you can play it.
you can play the game. You
Yeah.
can stream it on your phone, laptop, your tablet devices,
Computer.
computer,
Yeah.
your
Um,
Android phones,
and
Chromecast, all
in
that stuff.
theory, your TV if you had a controller and Chromecast.
Yeah, Chromecast. So with the free version, they're allowing you to have 1080p streams and 60 frames a second with just standard stereo sound, which honestly is probably fine for a majority of the people, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, so the initial release that they're going to be doing is supposed to be this November, and it's the Founders Edition, which are the Stadia Pro is what they're calling it, the Founders Edition. Um, and that's going to cost you $130 up front, which sounds kind of crazy because you're not really, you're buying a service. But with the $130, you are getting hardware. You're getting a Chromecast Ultra, which is like the best Chromecast that's out right now.
Right.
You're
Right.
getting the Stadia controller, which they said costs $70 by itself.
Yep.
So even if you had the free version and you had to buy the controller, you're still at $70. And a Chromecast runs like what, 30, $40 too?
I think for the Ultra, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
40. So
So right there is pretty much your cost. But then this is what's interesting. So they're giving you Destiny 2. So obviously they've got something there with Bungie, and they're trying to partner, and they're trying to boost that experience.
mhm.
Um, but the cool thing about Destiny 2 is that it's going to include all of DLC and upcoming DLCs.
Okay.
So that's awesome because personally for me that was my biggest issue with playing Destiny 1 was buying a new DLC pack for $35 every 3 months,
Mhm.
2 months or whatever. Um, but with this as well, you get a 3-month subscription to the service, which is $9.99 standard a month. So you're getting 3 months of that. So that's another $30 that you're, getting. And you're getting 3 months that you can give to a friend for a buddy pass.
Right.
So
And the main difference between this 9.99 Pro subscription and the free one is you're getting a higher resolution and sound quality, and I believe they mentioned you're getting like free games on occasion, like on a monthly or something basis. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they said something about that. It's kind of like going to be like a Game Pass subscription sort of thing that
Yeah,
they're looking
kind of
at.
like PlayStation Plus or your
Yeah, that
Xbox Gold or whatever.
yeah, and like Patrick said, it's you get 4K and you get 5.1 surround and HDR.
Right.
So, you know, fidelity is going to be better, but if you don't have a 4K screen, do you really need it?
Hmm.
A lot of people don't still. I just recently got one and it's on my PC, so it doesn't really do anything for me for the gaming aspect. But um, if you think about like your cost savings with the upfront cost, you're spending $130. What's included is about a $200 cost overall if you bought it individually. Your Chromecast, your
Hmm.
controller, and 6 months of the service and Destiny 2, about $200.
Basically, if you're interested in a controller and a Chromecast, then you're more than likely going to pick up this starter founders kit.
Yeah,
So.
and I've heard nothing about like a membership, so I'm sure it's all month to month. You should be able to cancel whenever. Um,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that if you like do that on and off canceling and re-enabling, this is just what I'm assuming, you'll probably be in danger of like losing your save files, maybe. Like, if I play in
Maybe. I
October
don't
and then
know.
I
Yeah.
cancel in November and then play again in December, they might give you. I'm sure there'll be some sort of
There's probably
like
some
a
kind
grace
of time
period.
window
Yeah,
of
I'm
how
sure there's
long
a
they
grace
hold
period,
on.
but or maybe they'll just put it on your Google Drive account and you won't have to worry about it because everyone has one. So, but I personally I think it's pretty awesome. Like I said, I have a laptop that it can play Portal 2. As I bought it when Portal 2 was out and it ran. It was great. That's why I play the game. But I'm not playing any game that's come out in the last 5 to 6 years on my laptop, unless I'm streaming it from Steam from my PC, which is essentially what this is going to be doing, but over the internet. So it'll be really interesting to see. The biggest thing is going to be the input to make sure there's no input lag.
Hmm.
Um, I don't see the video being a big deal because it's just I feel like it's gonna I just feel like it's gonna work fine. I just think the input lag is gonna be the biggest thing. So,
Yeah. Um,
but
it'll definitely be interesting,
yeah,
especially like once the new consoles start rolling out. People will probably actually seriously considering one versus the other, like actually making a choice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm tempted to check out the Founders Edition honestly, but you get like I say, you get the controller, the Chromecast. I don't have a Chromecast, so if I can use it on something else I already have attached to my
It makes
projector and everything,
sense.
then that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, I
Yeah.
don't have anything that's 4K other than my PC, and my
Yeah.
my PC can run any game that I'm gonna play on Stadia, and I already own Destiny 2, so it's kind of. But I don't know the DLCs, so it's like, you know, what do I want to
Yeah.
do? But I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I'm really interested to see how it changes the landscape of gaming overall.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I think another big thing that will come down to is like what games is going to make me want to pick this up versus getting a PS5 with like the next exclusive Spider-Man or something. It's going to be interesting to see how they can propel this forward. Like you want Stadia,
I think the biggest thing is
so
it's gonna be games. Like if they lock down an exclusive, then maybe. But at the same time, I don't know. You don't really get exclusives on PC that often nowadays.
yeah,
Um, so it'll really be interesting to see what comes from that. But the big thing though is the crossplay as well. They're trying to, say that you can play with everyone else crossplay on these online games. So that case, if you have a PC and your friends all have Xbox and PS4, PS5, you can still play with them. Then you might get those people that are like, I don't want to upgrade because my PC is already here and I use that anyway. So but you
yeah,
can still then play with your friends that have those games. So it's really going to come down to software support. They have a huge list of developers already on there. Um,
yeah.
they've
I think
announced,
Ubisoft was a big one who's
yeah,
supporting them.
Yeah, and they announced a bunch of games, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
so you were saying about digging into the E3 highlights.
Yes. Let us dive in, and I guess we'll just go in order of the press conferences and note either like big titles or games that personally seemed like highlights to us.
So anything from E3 or Bethesda, since they were one of the first couple.
Um, oh yeah, I didn't even write down Bethesda. Whoops.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
that's about how and it sucks. Like I hate to be like that. I just personally nothing Bethesda makes interests me. And I know a lot of people love their games and I'm sure they're fine. I just it sucks. Like I say it sucks because they're local and like I feel like being from the area, I should support them. And I should want to play their games, but they just don't interest me at all. Even the games I grew up with like Wolfenstein and Doom, I'm just like eh.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, EA's big thing, they mostly was a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which um it looks nice. It looks pretty, but honestly, it didn't impress me that much. It seemed kind of bland or linear. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as much of a Star Wars fan as I used to be. I just don't
Ooh.
know.
Ooh.
Because honestly, the biggest things that impressed me from the demo that they did, they had a 15-minute demo, was when he like force pulled a vine to him and then like swung on it. I was like, that's clever. And then there was his little droid that rode on him. I was like, you're cute. All right. And then that was about it. That's how I felt.
So, real quick, since we're talking about Star Wars, a good time to bring this up. Did you see the limited run press conference?
I did not.
So,
No.
limited run is releasing a classic Star Wars collection.
Ooh.
I forgot what it's called, but they're doing physical releases of like Pod Racer,
Pod racing,
Episode 1 Pod
yes.
Racer, like Rebel Assault was on there, like the original PC, like TIE Fighter, Dark Forces, Shadows of the Empire, and a couple of the other games were on that list. I don't remember all of them, but yeah, if you're into those more classic Star Wars games, I think the NES and Super NES games are on there too.
Cool.
But seeing like Dark Forces, again, and Shadows of the Empire was one of my favorite Star Wars games, and I just love the Hoth level, taking down the
Yeah,
AT-ATs and
yeah.
AT-STs, and like that was like one of the coolest things for me. Um, but that was pretty cool. That was from limited run. I don't remember when they said that it's going to happen, but that was one of their big announcements that they did. Um, and then also with Star Wars, today there was a leaked photo from Arcade One Up on their booth that they're going to be releasing a miniature Star Wars arcade machine. Which, if you don't know, Star Wars Arcade is a very expensive arcade machine, very hard to find. The parts break on it. Um, a lot of a lot of machines were destroyed, of course. So when you do find them, you know, you're gonna find parts. They're gonna be broken, monitors, everything else. The biggest thing is that the parts for the controller, it's like a flight yoke.
Right, right.
Um, that doesn't typically hold up, and I think the parts are gone for that. This huge thing online a while back about a company that was remaking their parts, and there's a bunch of scams and people getting called out, bad business practices, and to the point where this company's like banned in the arcade community. So it's interesting to see that Arcade One Up is rumored to make this arcade for Star Wars, and it's going to have Star Wars and I think it's Return of the Jedi is the sequel. It's like an add-on kit for the
Cool.
original Star Wars, which was also a vector game. So it's going to be interesting to see how the vector game translates on the LCD screen. Probably not as good, obviously, but it still looks neat. It's a very interesting piece and a good way to play that game the way it was intended to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that covers the Star Wars stuff. I want to throw that in there before
That's cool.
we moved along. Quick
That's
stuff.
worth knowing. And I guess to give the game credit, from what I've heard from journalists who got to talk a little more about the game, apparently it's not as linear as it's showcased. Like it's supposed to have more of almost a Metroid kind of feel and like exploration. So I guess it's something worth keeping an eye on. But I don't know, first impression did not really give good impressions to me. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um,
I probably won't play it.
yeah.
I haven't played a Star Wars
Uh,
game probably since Shadow of the Empire.
and it's
So
supposed to come out in November, so
okay.
I guess should be out soon. We'll find out soon enough.
Yep.
And then of else that EA showed, they showcased more like expansions, season stuff for Apex Legends and a bunch of their other sports games. I didn't really pay attention because I don't really care about a bunch of those. So
Yeah, I was saddened to learn that they will not be bringing Madden or NHL to Switch, which is really frustrating 3 years into the console's life cycle, and the fact that
yeah,
it's outselling every other console and just
uh,
dumb.
I don't understand EA. They're weird.
Yeah, so
Uh, and then Bethesda. Um, let's see. They showed Doom
they
Eternal.
should Doom Eternal. There was
Looks
Blades.
like more Doom. They showed a lot of Elder Scrolls stuff, especially the mobile game, which is apparently coming to Switch,
Yeah,
and it should be free to play. So I guess if you're interested, you can check it out. And they showed one new game from the creators of the Evil Within series. They're
hmm
doing a new game called uh, something like Ghost of Tokyo. It looks interesting. It was more of just a CG kind of concept trailer, but it's like everyone in Japan is disappearing, and you got to figure out like why it's happening, and they're like spirits wandering around in Tokyo and stuff. And some are good, and some are spooky and bad. So um, that was probably the most unique game that they showed. But otherwise, yeah, more of the same that from Bethesda.
yeah.
So
I don't have anything to say about Bethesda any more than I already
yeah,
have. So
yeah,
we can move right along.
I agree. Let me just
So
see if I can find that name of the game. I want to
sure,
quote
sure.
properly.
Yeah, I think
It's called Ghostwire Tokyo.
mm,
That's the official name. So
cool. So I think they were
um,
actually after the Microsoft conference, weren't they? I thought they were.
Bethesda.
I don't remember, but
I'm losing track of the order. Yeah, but
doesn't matter.
Microsoft. Let's talk about
Yeah,
Microsoft.
let's
They
just
have
get into
more
Microsoft.
to talk about.
So you have some games listed here, but let's talk about the big thing from Microsoft, which was Project Scarlet.
Okay, that's
So
right.
Project Scarlet was announced, which is basically the Xbox Two, I guess.
Uh, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand
get
that
it? Yeah.
reference.
Okay, Captain. But yeah, so they say it's going to be 4 times faster than the Xbox One X, as well as it's going to
Ooh,
be
loading time.
able. Yeah, loading times were like the big thing they were focusing on, and they said that it's gonna, resolutions we've never seen before.
What are the other buzzwords? Ray
Yeah,
tracing. And
yeah. So but I mean, it's AMD core, just like the PS5. I think is also AMD core. So
yeah.
um, yeah, nobody's gonna build a system with an Intel chip. It's way too expensive. So and AMD's their new chips that are coming out are just gonna crush. So um, it's it's definitely the way to go. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's a new console. I always like new console hype. I told myself
Coming out holiday 2020. So
next year. So
yeah.
I've always told myself that after I built my last PC, I wasn't gonna buy another non Nintendo console. However, I kind of want a PS4 because there's a lot of exclusives on it that I haven't played yet. And then, but with the PS5 coming out and the rumor of being backwards compatible with everything, which is what they're saying about Project Scarlet as well, is that it's going to be backwards compatible with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I might consider it. I might consider waiting and just getting a PS5. I don't think I'd get an Xbox though because of something else that they talked about, and that's Game Pass for PC and for Xbox, which you can do in a bundle subscription for
Or
$15.
Yeah, the ultimate bundle.
Yeah, so that gives you access to download hundreds of games that they give you. So I went ahead and subscribed to it on the PC for $1 for the first month.
They're having an E3 special for $1.
Yeah, so I went ahead and did that, and the list. There's a lot of indie games, but there's a lot of indie games that I would have spent like $10 or $15 on. So, if I can knock out 2 or 3 indie games in a month, then it's worth it. But there were some other games too there. There's like Wolfenstein and some other stuff on there as well. I thought Halo was supposed to be there, but I think it's going to come with the launch of it. Because they were talking about like now it's in beta and it's supposed to launch in the fall.
I think they mentioned like the complete Halo collection is coming and it's going to start with the Reach. So
Reach
they're
is
probably going to slowly release each Halo game.
Yeah, I think Reach is on there, and there's some other Halo games that I've never seen before that were on there.
Okay.
So, I have to see. Oh man.
Giving me a lot of editing here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can leave it if you want. That's fine. I've been sick. Anyway. So we got that, and I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it was worth it, and if you just get the PC one, like I subscribe to, it's $1 for the first month, and then $5 every month after. I mean, $5 for 100+ games, and new games are going to come to the service. Now, this service is not a streaming service. You still have to download the game, and your PC has to be able to run the game. So that's something that needs to be noted. As well as right before we started this recording, I tried to install the Game Pass beta that I subscribed to, and you have to have Windows 10 May update 2019, which I don't. Which I thought I did. I mean, I'm up to date with patches, but I didn't have that update. So the build needs to be 1903 for Windows 10. Otherwise, you will not be able to download it. So as soon as this podcast is over, I'll be upgrading my machine to 1903 so I can check that out. So beware. Don't just try to subscribe and not have access.
I was about to, but then I realized I'm still running Windows 7. I'm like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna fly.
Yeah. So beware, buyer beware. But I think it'll be a good service. I'm gonna definitely check it out. And
I think so. So I'll be curious on your impressions. But like, even $1 or $5 once the promotion goes away, it's like essentially the most convenient rental service that you could ask for, way easier than Blockbuster or GameFly or any.
Yeah, you don't have to leave your house.
And you can browse through hundreds of games and switch on the fly. Like, I feel like playing this one now.
And you can put them on a laptop too and take them with you if you really want to. It's not like you have to have internet to play these. So
exactly, you can play offline and have a grand old time.
So. At least I assume you'll be able to play offline. I don't know. I would imagine if you're installing it, I would assume you can, but
unless it has to check first before it lets you start playing. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you should figure that out.
You're gonna have to test this.
I literally never go offline, so my laptop is currently in front of me being used as a camera mount, so it's not even turned on. So
yeah. For the most part, I don't think it would matter too much. So
yeah, but
and then speaking of Project Scarlet, they announced that the next Halo game is going to be kind of a launch title for that.
Yeah, so, Halo Infinite.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Which they gave us another CG trailer for, no gameplay or anything.
Yeah, it looked really good as far as the screen, like the graphics and stuff, but obviously, like you said, CG rendered, but
Yeah.
the textures look like they were built on the hardware, and it looked really smooth, looked really good.
It
Um,
looks fine. Yeah.
I haven't played a Halo game since Halo 3, so we'll see
Yeah.
how that'll be. I don't know. I remember beating Halo 3 on Legendary with my roommate, and that was like the last time I played a Halo game. I had never even touched 4. I do have the Master Chief Collection. I just haven't played it. So I think we talked about this before on other
Yes.
podcasts. I'm not gonna go down that road again. I'm trying to
Yes.
ramble as little as possible tonight. We have a lot to go through, and we're 30 minutes in already.
Yeah.
So
Probably the other big games that were shown at the Microsoft conference was they showed Gears of War 5.
yeah, which they
Um,
only showed like they didn't show
again,
gameplay. They showed another
yeah,
CG
more
trailer.
CG trailers, which didn't really look that good to me. I don't know. It didn't really
Yeah.
show what Gears of War is all about.
No, it just showed
So
like a face transforming multiple times, and that was it. I was like watching it on my phone, like, the hell is this? And I was like, and then I saw the first Gears of War guy. I was like, okay, it's Gears of War, and then I was like, all right, it's an angry girl that now has the face of 5 other dudes, and like,
and then they tried to show that new multiplayer mode that they had, Escape, which started off looking okay, and then it just turned into like your typical multiplayer trailer with like music that doesn't fit along with it. So
yeah,
yeah.
yep. Um,
And probably the one
the
moment that everyone's talking about at the conference was Cyberpunk
yep
2077.
with the wonderful Keanu Reeves.
The oh so charming Keanu Reeves.
Whoa.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, that was funny. Everyone's talking about that. Yeah. He's like, no, it's breathtaking, is what he said.
Breathtaking.
Because he was like, the environment in this is breathtaking, and the guy's like, you're breathtaking, and he's like, no, you're all breathtaking. Yeah, that's
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that I don't know. I have no interest in that game. Like, I know everyone's talking about it being great, but to me, I'm just like, it's another futuristic game where you're going around fighting.
I am very keen on this. I am very interested to see what comes of it because I think the world building looks so cool.
Yeah.
And just being able to walk around in that, like how they showed more of it. It wasn't last E3, but I think like a couple months after they showed the closed doors demo that was kind of like hidden off, and that was just so impressive. Yeah, but again at this E3 they just showed another CG trailer, so we have a release date now, so I guess that's the cool thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Which I think was February.
2077, right?
Next year.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, then I guess the other thing, the Forza Horizon Lego expansion. I thought it was pretty cool. Like, it's definitely neat. It's a different take on Forza, because Forza's always kind of been, well, I guess not always, but Forza is like Microsoft's Gran Turismo, like their licensed racing game.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Lego thing was pretty cool, and they had that car on stage that was made of Legos, stuff like that. So
you thought it was a real sports car, like, oh, another car on stage, whoop de doo, and like it's all made out of Legos.
Yeah, that's been a big thing lately. You'll see that a lot in like commercials, and I've seen a bunch of things online talking about that.
But yeah, I'll put it this way: I have no interest in Forza Horizon 4, but that Lego game looks fun. Racing around with Lego cars.
Running, you should be able to like break through Lego walls in the houses and stuff. I don't know, it'd be kind of cool.
It just made me want to play Lego City under the Lego City game, the cop one.
Oh, Lego City Undercover?
Undercover something.
Undercover, yeah. That's like the GTA game, right? But you're
Yeah, that game was
Legos.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
I
much
never
fun.
played it. I saw some stuff about it. I just never.
I want that game with those Forza 4 graphics of Lego rendering.
Yeah.
uh, and
So I think that pretty much covers Microsoft.
yeah,
I mean, there's some other stuff you had here.
I could highlight some indie games that looked cool to me because those were really the games that I thought looked cooler than anything they showed between even Gears and Halo. I was like, whatever. Indies games, yes, these look cool. Specifically, Ori and the Will of the Wisp looks awesome. That's coming out next year. And just like the boss and monster designs of that game look so good. So good. That's the game that's kind of like Metroidvania-ish from that of their first game that they released. It's pretty cool from what I hear. I never got to play the first one, but this looks awesome. And then they showed this game called Spiritfarer, which looks pretty cool. It looks very animated, and you're this little person who runs this city on a boat, and you're like faring spirits who come like travelers, and you have to help them find a way and be like comforted into the afterlife. It seemed kind of novel. The Legend of Wright looked really cool. That was that sketchbook game. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Yeah,
Has,
yeah,
like, big
yeah.
doodles and stuff. I have no idea what was going on in the game, but just the style of it looks so good.
Yeah, I saw like I was watching it while I was trying to clean the house and like get dinner and stuff. So like I just kind of had it on my phone and I was just kind of sitting around. The only time I really like stopped and paid attention is when they talked about Project Scarlet. So, but I did see a lot of stuff. I was just like I said, I had my headphones in. I was like vacuuming, trying to like clean up some stuff. So I didn't have all my attention given to it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Last two I would mention would be a way to the woods, which was this game with like these two deer, and they're like traveling through like cityscapes and sewers. I don't know. It looked really weird, but kind of fun. And then 12 Minutes. That game looked really cool, where you're replaying like the same 12 minutes over and over, but your character retains the memory of what happened when time resets. And like the trailer starts off showing him talking to his wife, and she has like a gift for him. And he's like, I know what's the gift. It's to announce you're pregnant because it's baby clothes, and someone's about to knock on that door and accuse you of murdering your father, and he's gonna come and hurt us. And like the wife starts freaking out, like, how do you know all this? And then like the door starts knocking, and like, it looks so interesting.
I saw that. I remember that now.
Yeah. Just like the possibilities and like slowly unraveling this mystery and like trying to figure out ways to change this fate of happening. Seems so cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I remember that now. I do remember that.
Yeah. So those are the indie highlights that stood out to me. So.
Jump into Ubisoft now?
Yeah, we can jump into Ubisoft. So the one game that everyone seems to be impressed with, which I thought looked okay, but they started with Watchdogs, the next Watchdogs game, Legion, I believe it was called.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like more of Watchdogs, maybe just on a bigger scale now. Like now you're trying to like recruit anyone in the whole world. Like you can point your phone or hack into like anyone's profile and be like, this is this person's skill sets or this person's skill sets. This looks like a good recruit. And then you try to recruit them and get them to join your team. But like every character that you recruit has like permadeath. So if they die, then you have to switch to one of these other recruits that you have. And like the very people that you can recruit is like all over the place, which seems interesting. Like You can even be like an old lady grandma, which was the funniest part of that trailer. She's like so unassuming, and then she just like puts on a mask and it's like pop in this resistance. I don't know. It's so weird.
I did not watch the Ubisoft conference.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. They
So,
I don't think I've really played a Ubisoft game that I've really enjoyed in a while. So I don't know. I had no real interest and figured that if anything came up that I wanted to hear about, I would watch trailer for, and I saw everyone talking about Gods and Monsters, and from what I saw, it was just like meh. So,
oh well, yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that one next.
sorry.
That's what they ended. No. That's the one they ended with, and I agree. Their trailer was horrible for that. It was just like very boring edit, and other than like the art aesthetic, it showed nothing of interest.
Yeah.
But from the more I read of like journalists like impressions and like talking about the game, it sounds interesting in concept. So it's something I want to keep an eye on. Essentially, it's like Ubisoft's take on Breath of the Wild in a Greek mythos monster setting.
Yeah, I read something about that as well. Which
And yeah, and you have like a character customizer, and you like learn these skills as you explore this world, fighting different monsters. It sounds interesting on paper, um, but yeah, what they showed did not. That was bad.
So
Which is a little concerning, considering they say it's going to come out February. So
yeah, but we'll see. Worst case,
yeah,
they'll shoot themselves in the foot, and then they'll just make another Assassin's Creed game and not worry about it.
yeah, and that's their plan next year. So yeah, they got their insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think the rest of the conference pretty much was just a lot of Tom Clancy games. A lot
Yeah,
of Tom Clancy. So much.
it's like Ghost Recon. Is that still? What was
Yeah,
was that the last one or no?
I can't
The
even keep
Division.
track.
The Division isn't that the big one? Division 2.
Yeah, that was the big game last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So haven't played them. So and I know you were disappointed that there was no Rayman, right?
I
Or
Rayman
no
would have been cool, or just anything using the Ubi art engine
Beyond Good and
specifically.
Evil. There was nothing Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah,
Or
that game's gonna be forever.
yeah,
I can foresee that.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's
Yeah,
it for Ubisoft.
that's it
So
for Ubisoft. And then I forgot to write down Square. We should probably talk a little about Square before we get into Nintendo.
yeah,
Yeah,
Square had some big news.
they
Should we
did.
just talk about the biggest news they had? Well, I guess there's two things. So we had
I'm
the
more interested in what you're gonna say is the biggest news. Go ahead.
okay, I'm gonna say it then. Personally, I think the biggest news is that they're actually re-releasing Final Fantasy VIII, which hasn't had a re-release in forever, if ever.
Yes.
Um, rumors of like the source code being lost, and that's why it was never going to be made again, and like all sorts of stuff. But that's always been the one that's missing. They've announced 7, 9, 10 through 15, and 1 through 7, and then 9 through 15. They never said a thing about 8 ever. So I think that was big. I think that's huge. There's a lot of people in the community
It
that
is.
really like 8. I remember like 7 was the first one I ever beat, and then so when 8 came out, I was like extremely happy to play it, like ready to go. Started playing it, got into the card game, and was like, nope, I'm done.
I remember
So
that card game.
as soon as the card game started, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do these cards, and I'm sure
I
I
mean,
could have.
you didn't have to. It was such
No,
like a
I
side part of the game.
probably didn't have to, but I don't know. I kind of, I think I burned myself out on it because I played Final Fantasy VII as like a greatest hits because
Mhm.
PlayStation sold greatest hits games for like $20. So I picked up Final Fantasy VII greatest hits, ran through that in like a couple weeks or something, and then got 8, and then so I was probably just burned out on RPG honestly,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but never went back to it. But I still think it's huge news considering
Definitely,
the history of it.
It felt like the forgotten child, and like when they announced it, like, oh, you do remember it.
Exactly. So everyone else would probably say that the Final Fantasy VII remake getting an actual date is the bigger news, and it looks great. I mean, the graphics they showed for the demo, for the first scene, it looks great. But like, they're releasing the game episodically.
That's
All
my
right,
only like sadness to it.
dude.
Like
The
knowing
text.
that it's so great and that I'll probably have to wait till like 2026 till it's ever finished.
Well, that's the thing, though, dude. Like, so they're gonna charge you $60 per episode. They didn't say how many episodes it's gonna get broke into.
No.
And this episode is like the first like
Just
five
probably just
percent of the game. It's just
Midgar.
it's just Midgar. That's
Yeah.
it. Once you're like, that's what they said. So you're gonna spend. Here's my thing. All right, the price is gonna be insane. I'm sure. It's using two Blu-ray discs because of how massive the assets are and the artwork
That's
and
what
everything else.
blows my mind. This
The first
tiny chunk of what is the original game has somehow scoped into two Blu-ray discs.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Unless they're just gonna sell you the disc with like majority of stuff on it, and then they like unlock it through DLC down the road. I don't know,
No, I don't
but
think so.
no. But like, my thing is this: this game has taken at least 4 years, right? 3, 4 years since they announced it, and
Yeah.
we're just now getting the first 5% of the game. And when you release games episodically, I think of Half-Life 2. You might not ever get that last episode. Who's to say that episode 3 of Final Fantasy VII is ever going to come out?
True.
So,
Like,
or who's still going to be interested in it?
I've never really been a fan of episodic games. Like, I'm always the person who buys them once they've all been released, and that way I can play at my own pace.
Yeah.
Like, I hate having to wait between episodes. It annoys me to no end.
Yeah.
And that is my biggest conundrum with this game. Like, it looks perfect what they've nailed here, and I just don't want to wait and know that I'm going to have to wait, and I just don't know what I'm going to do.
Now, have you played the first one? Have you played the original game? Oh no!
No.
Wow. Okay.
I watched my siblings play most of it.
Yeah.
But I was never interested in playing it, and I feel like this is the version I would want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks beautiful. I mean, it's funny because like looking at I know the original, so when I see like the screenshots from that, Cloud jumping off the train and all that stuff at the beginning, and it's like, okay, that's what I remember. But then they show like this new crazy, where you don't have massive Popeye arms and like pixelated, like
You're no longer like
polygon.
mode.
Yeah, you're not just like a polygon running down. It definitely looks great, but I personally don't know if I'll go back and replay it just because it's so long ago that I played that game, and yeah, I just remember
so good
it's
though.
so long.
Like personally, I am an action RPG person, and just seeing like the combat and how it works, it looks like so much fun to me.
Yeah.
With while still being respectable to like the RPG systems that I had in the original.
Yeah, yeah. They took most of that from like what, Final Fantasy 13, right? Isn't that the one where was it 13 or 14 where they implemented that more action-oriented RPG fighting?
I want to say that started in 12.
Was it 12? Maybe. I haven't played Final Fantasy since
I don't
10.
I'm not that, yeah.
X was the last one I played, so I couldn't tell you.
But yeah, just like in the ways they are subtly changing the combat too, like how some enemies are like actually out of range, and you actually have to switch between characters, like to the machine gunner who can reach the characters that are up high and stuff, and it just seems so cool.
Yeah.
Really thought out.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, maybe on the PS6 we can enjoy the Final Fantasy VII Remake Collection, and for the low price of $350. So
You joke about this, but like it's almost a reality. It is almost a reality.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Um, I think that's pretty much it for Square, right? Just like that was like the big stuff.
Yeah. Most of the rest of their conference had a lot of Final Fantasy at their press conference. Crystal Chronicles, music, just all kinds of Final Fantasy. Like, here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff like Crystal Chronicles is coming to Switch this fall.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy VIII's coming to Switch. Final Fantasy VII's already on
yeah.
Switch. The original, not the remake, which that's not coming to Switch. That's not coming.
No,
No way.
not this Switch.
No. You'll need a over a terabyte flash card. No, excuse me, to use that. So
Maybe they'll do the weird streaming thing in Japan to play it. I don't know.
yeah, Japan will get it. We won't, for sure. That's a guarantee. So,
But yeah, that was mostly Square, and then a bunch of their other random RPGs and stuff, getting re-releases and stuff. The one thing that surprised me the most was I was hoping for an announcement at Square that didn't happen, and that's what led to the most pleasant surprise in the Nintendo Direct, and that was the Mana Collection.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna make that my segue into Nintendo. So
And they didn't mention that during their conference. That
they
was
did not, and that's
yeah.
why I just lost hope. I was like, I guess not this year.
Yeah. I was hoping that we'd get, even if it was a port, just Chrono Trigger on Switch.
Yeah.
Just because I have the game on my Super Nintendo, I have it on my DS, but I just want to play it on my Switch, like everything else, and it's disappointing that such a fantastic game that's been ported to pretty much everything isn't on Switch yet in any format. So,
Yeah. No,
but
I agree. But Collection of Mana,
yeah,
3 Secret of Mana games
yeah,
released on the day of the Nintendo Direct.
yeah, a Shadow Drop. So 40
Oh my
bucks,
gosh.
40 bucks for the first 3 games.
Yep.
And then you informed me today that there's a physical copy of it.
Yes, I
That's
found out, and I did verify. It's actually a limited run of those physical copies.
now.
So if you are interested, and it's still available by the time we actually post this podcast, you should probably check very quickly.
Yeah. So I pre-ordered that today as well. Because again, Secret of Mana is something that I've purchased that game on Super Nintendo probably 5 or 6 times in the last 6 years, and I've never played it. So
Such a good game.
I've purchased it, and I will play it on my Switch, but I'll probably start with the Game Boy version just to
Yeah, no,
go
that makes
through it.
sense.
I never played any of the Final Fantasy adventure games, so
Yeah.
so
And if you're interested in playing either of the other two, it's a co-op, so it
yeah,
could be fun. Yeah.
online. No,
I have no idea.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Probably not. Yeah.
But
One of my friends was telling me about the third game that's on there, Secret of Mana 3 or 2, whatever it is.
2.
Yeah. That it sounded really cool from what he was describing. Apparently there's like 6 characters in the game, and they each have their own unique storyline, so it has like lots of replay value because you can like replay the game again and then choose one of the different characters and get like a completely different story.
It's like Chrono Trigger. There's like
Yeah.
20 different endings in that game or something, and I've only ever beat it once. So.
Let's dig into this meaty Nintendo Direct, because honestly, aside from Square did a pretty decent job, Nintendo is what saved E3 for me, because it was looking rather meh until then.
I thought Sony's was the best because they just weren't there. but yeah, they had 42 game announcements in a span of 40 minutes.
Most of which were pretty significant.
Yeah. A lot of that, they did like a quick reel at the end that highlighted like half of them, but they gave a lot of release dates for stuff that we didn't, have any release dates for.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off with the opening.
Yes, and they know how to open a direct, and that is with a new Smash character reveal.
Yeah, so
And if you've been paying attention to the rumors, it did happen to come true.
and that's something too I want to say real quick. Like, it's cool. You know, it's always nice to find out this information, but like rumors have like killed E3. It's killed the hype. Like, I see the stuff and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but it's like, yeah, we kind of knew that was happening, or like somebody already said that was gonna happen. Like, I don't know. It's still great to see it, but it just kind of it's just a little bit of a letdown. Like,
it did deflate a lot of announcements this E3, rumors and leaks. I forgot to mention during the Microsoft conference that Game of Thrones director and From Software game was announced. It was this kind of dumb CG trailer as well, but I'm sure the fact that it was leaked ahead of time that it was happening really made that one fall flat.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to the Nintendo Direct.
so yes, the character was a Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Was announced,
and it was
and
like, go ahead.
I still
Sorry.
think it had some surprise to it. Like, I think most of the rumors were saying it was going to be like one of the Dragon Quest heroes. I don't think anyone expected 4 different heroes being selectable as different skins.
Yeah.
Which was pretty exciting.
Like Echo Fighters, I'm assuming is what it's going to be, or?
I think it's going to be skins, actually.
Skins? Like, okay.
You know, like how Bowser Jr. changes into the Koopalings, or...
Okay.
There's a bunch of characters that kind of change,
Gotcha.
like gender or other looks to them. So
Gotcha. So yeah, so that's the announcements for that. Then they also announced that the next Dragon Quest game was it Dragon Quest
11
Definitive Edition S or something like that. Isn't that what it's called?
Super long title.
Yeah, huge title name. That's coming out in September. September 27th was the exact date they gave. And I think that was pretty much the only. Yeah, I think that was the last information that they gave out about a Dragon Quest game. So I thought I heard it. I thought I had it here on here twice.
Yeah.
But
the Smash character will come out in the summer. This summer, so.
Yeah. So he's summer release. The game's September release, and then we had our first customer interaction with Doug Bowser.
That's right.
Who came out, which I thought it was funny. You know, they said here's Bowser, and Bowser's there all like in his tie, like a job interview, all excited, and he gets
I
kicked
love how
out.
he was just like talking like rah, rah, rah,
Yeah, like rah, 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 rah. And he walked no this way. And he walks. So
it gets me excited for a Mario movie. They're having fun with it.
Yeah. Just because you bad guy does not make you bad guy. But yeah, no. So that was I thought he did a good job. He's not as I guess everyone's come to love Reggie over the years. So he kind of tried to like his speech sounded very similar to the way Reggie would talk. That's something that I was kind of picking up on. But I thought he was fine. I have no complaints.
He's cool. He's cool.
Yeah,
we're warming up to him.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean,
although he made me lose my E3 bet. I bet that he wasn't going to make a Bowser joke, and they made one. So
right away, I thought he'd give us Mother 3. That would one up, but here we are. So yeah, they immediately went into one of the biggest games anticipated for the year, which is Luigi's Mansion 3. And they mentioned there's going to be, this is something I was excited about, was the local and online co-op, which was basically the same thing that was in Dark Moon that me and you played when we camped out for the Switch.
Same thing as the 3DS version, which is great.
Yeah.
It's great mode. So.
Yeah, so I'm happy that that's available online. That was something that
and
that
now
really
it supports
cool.
8 players, which is cool.
Yeah. So. And they showed off like his new vacuum. It gives him the ability to jump. Gives you the little blast ability to kind of knock everything away from you to give you a little more time.
The plunger, you can shoot plungers out and like pull things out and stuff.
Yeah, so it definitely looks fun. I mean, it looks like a Luigi's Mansion game. It doesn't look like anything too offbeat, which is
Yeah,
fine. It just needs to follow that. The
yeah.
one thing I found very interesting about it was that the game's slated to come out in 2019, and they gave no date.
That was so weird.
So I find that very interesting because everyone's kind of rumoring that it'll come out in October just because it's
It's
Halloween. It makes
it's
sense, and
gotta be October. And
yeah,
honestly, I think they're shooting for October. They just don't want to say it and like push it back a month if it happens to be delayed. They don't want to disappoint. So
yeah,
I
which
bet you
is
they'll announce it in a later direct and be like, yes, it is coming out in October. So
yeah. So before we get in, so there was a couple other things. I guess no, actually, right after Luigi Mansion, they showed that Dark Crystal Netflix trailer, which
I
that
shouldn't laugh, but
that was weird to me. I just thought that was, I don't know, that game. I actually have lame written next to it on my notes, and that's because if you like that stuff, that's fine. But I
it's
personally
fine.
I don't like strategy games, so the
I
fact
mean,
that it
Dark
was
Crystal is cool. Strategy games are fine. It's
yeah
just I found it amusing. Just like here's a Netflix game, and
yeah
we still don't have Netflix on the Switch.
yeah, that would have been a good tie-in,
Not to
especially
mention you're also getting Stranger Things later this summer game, and we
yeah
still don't have Netflix.
yeah. So that was definitely interesting. But then the next thing they showed was this will probably be the longest topic of the night. No, it won't. Um, Link's Awakening. They showed
Wow,
more of that game, and it looks beautiful. It looks
it
so
looks
good.
gorgeous. Like you look in like the little houses. There's so much detail packed. It's like
And it's such a
so,
diorama look too. Like the
it
way that the
is.
walls are like, it's like you're looking down on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you see the E3 show floor at all of Nintendo?
I saw the diorama that they showed on the treehouse.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
saw that.
because apparently like where the Zelda booth stations are set up, they have like four of them, and the
Hmm.
dioramas are placed like in the middle of each one, so you can like look into it and stuff, and it looks
Yeah,
so adorable.
yeah. I saw the one of Bow Wow outside.
Yeah.
I saw that, and like the little blades of grass, like they modeled them like perfectly. It looks so good. But it
and,
opened
and
with. Sorry, go
no, no,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, and that's exactly what the game looks like. It
Yeah,
literally feels like they just went in there and sculpted everything.
yeah. It's that clay. That clay art style is really really cool.
Yeah. But go on.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I was just saying they opened with Marin walking up to Link
Yeah.
on the beach, and then they just started showing like scenes from all around the game, like the world, not so much like dungeons, but like they were showing just the world map from the game. And then the big extra surprise came, and that was the dungeon creator, which
Yeah.
looks really cool. Like you build a dungeon to get rewards from Dampe or Dampe, whatever the hell his name is,
Yeah, and the grave
the
digger,
Gravekeeper from Ocarina of Time.
which is
Uh,
kind of weird at thinking that he's in there considering the context of what this world exists. But anyways.
yeah, but it's cool though, because like it looks like as you beat different levels, you'll unlock new rooms for your dungeons you can use, and then Dampe will give you a challenge to do or something like that. I think is what they're
Yeah.
saying. So I don't know. It looks really interesting. I mean, the clip they showed was that you beat the challenge and then you got like an empty jar or something like that,
Okay.
which
Cool.
I don't remember there being jars in that game.
Don't think so.
I
So
don't
they
think there were
might be
jars.
adding a
So
little bit
maybe adding a
extra
little
to
bit of
this.
content.
Yeah.
Important note: your sword is always equipped.
And your
Your
shield
shield, your Pegasus boots, and your power bracelet.
and the bracelet. Yeah,
You
that's
can
right.
use all those at all times without having to use an item slot.
Which is huge.
So that's huge considering how
Yeah.
many times I was hitting start,
It,
change, start in that
it will
game.
probably save you at least like an hour.
Oh, yeah, speed runs are going to be insane for that game now. I'm sure the speed runs are going to be nuts for it. But so that was really big news. They gave us the release date, which was leaked beforehand by Amazon Japan apparently, and that was September 20th of this year.
Yay.
The game looks awesome. I'm super excited for it. It's one of my favorite Zelda games. Just, I can't wait. They announced there's going to be a Link amiibo from the game, which looks
Looks
identical to the character in the game. I will say too, after all my complaining about Link with the blacked out eyes and no face, he has a lot of emotion when you watch the gameplay in this. It really made it work. So I'm not, and I was never against it. Like, oh, I'm not going to buy this game because of it. No, it's stupid. Um, I just personally like having the whites around his eyes. But without it, it still works. It still works great. He has emotion now, and it's grown on me with his actual like facial expressions being added to it because I don't remember seeing any of that in the first trailer they showed.
Yeah, it was probably still being worked on. So
Yeah. So September 20th, we got the amiibo coming out the same day. We've got the standard edition, and we've got the Dreamer edition, which is $10 more and comes with a 120-page art book.
worth
And
it.
yeah, that's $10. I mean, the game's $60, which people are
We
complaining about.
should mention that. Yeah.
It's $60 game. People are upset about it, but it's $60. If you don't want to spend $60 on a game, buy it after it comes out. Like, buy it used. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I understand it is using the same pretty much game template, but honestly, this is a game from what you're looking at. It is being built from the ground up. It just is gorgeous.
You're talking about a game that was built on watch technology, turning into a complete remaster. Like, this isn't just up-resing textures. This is literally you're making the new game. So yeah, it's $60. If you've never played the game before, buy it, play it, and you'll like it. The game's amazing. Like there's
and the Dungeon Maker mode looks like such a fun addition too.
Yeah,
that is a lot of cool new stuff too being added.
So it's totally worth the price of admission, in my opinion. Even though I've beaten the game multiple times, but it doesn't matter. The game's amazing, and it's
the music. Everything. Oh my gosh!
Oh, the music's
especially
fantastic.
Hearing it reorchestrated is so good.
Yeah, some of the best music in the Zelda series came from that game. Came from this game, which was a side project. It was like, it's crazy. The game's amazing. So let's get off that topic. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Anything else you want to say about it?
I think you got it all.
Oh, one thing. No, I did want to say this. So I said we had the Dreamers collection. Europe has the limited edition that comes with a Game Boy Steelbook. It's a Steelbook that looks like an old Game Boy that has the picture of the original Link's Awakening on it.
It's pretty cool.
It's awesome, and I'm so upset that we don't get it here. It's so annoying. Yeah, so there's still time. Maybe they'll announce it, but
probably not.
Probably not, because this same thing that happened with Metroid Samus Returns, and the same thing happened with Pokemon Sword and Shield. And this kind of stuff always happens. Europe always gets the Steelbooks, and we get nothing. Although I did get the Steelbook for Smash, but still.
So if I had to choose between for this one, I'm glad at least we get the art book because I'm a sucker for art books.
Yeah,
so.
for $10, I mean.
$10.
Yeah, it's not like it's like $50 more. Then I probably would be like, it's an art book, but it's Zelda. I probably would have bought it. But yeah, I mean, you're talking $10. It's okay. Don't go to Starbucks for a day, and you're good. So.
That's 120 pages. That was like a substantial art book.
Yeah, that's a huge art book. So.
Yeah.
That's like as thick as like the Hyrule Historia.
Not quite that thick.
No,
but...
you don't think so? I don't know. Anyway,
I could pull mine out. I think it's like 300 or 400 pages.
Is it? I didn't think it was that big. I think I have it. I have it laying around here somewhere. But yeah. So we already talked about the Mana trilogy, which was a shadow drop. The Trials of Mana, which was never released here.
That's I think a new project.
I thought that was a remake of something that was never released here before.
I'm not sure. I'll have to double check, but it looks like it might actually be remake of the third Secret of Mana that's in that collection.
Gotcha.
The 6
Okay.
heroes. And,
Okay. Yeah.
but it
Again,
looks much more ambitious than what the Secret of Mana remake, which was pretty much just a boring 3D
up-res of it.
up-res.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the PS4.
This one actually looks like a 3D world,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
I
more
saw that.
ambitious. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about that. That's scheduled for 2020. So next
So that's
year.
cool. Yeah.
The Witcher 3 was announced for Switch, which was it was a rumored title from a few months ago.
Mhm.
People are saying it's coming, and people are really excited to see this game come to Switch. They
I've
also,
heard nothing but good things about it.
yeah, I've heard the game's great. You
And
know,
it seems like witchcraft that is running on Switch. So
yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it.
They showed a side by side. I don't know if you saw that.
I have not yet.
There's a YouTube video that shows a side by side. I forgot who did it. Probably Game Explain or something. I don't know. Somebody did it, and it has the the scaling between the two versions, and the Switch version is definitely dumbed down. It's missing a lot of the details and stuff like that, but the game still looks fine. It still looks playable. I think they announced it's going to run in 546p handheld, and it's going to run 720 dynamic on the dock. So it's definitely taking a resolution hit.
Yeah.
But also, though, they apparently put the entire game on a 32 gig Switch card, so you won't have to download it.
That's crazy.
So
that's amazing.
So they anteed up and paid the money for the good card, which is great, and hopefully more companies will do that, and not make you waste half of your system storage or your SD card for that game. We've got so that's supposed to come out this year. I forgot the exact date. I feel like I saw it since this direct, but I don't have it written down right now.
I'll check real quick, but go on.
Yeah. So the next thing they showed was Fire Emblem Three Houses. They gave a release date for that. Comes out July 26th. So you're about a month out from that game. I have no interest, but I know a lot of people are excited for that one. So
I keep getting more excited the more I hear of it. So yeah.
So that was like the first 18 minutes of the direct right there. The first 18 minutes of the direct, they announced a Smash character, a new Dragon Quest, introduced Doug Bowser, Luigi's Mansion 3, Dark Crystal, Link's Awakening, the Mana Collection, Witcher 3, and Firehouse Emblem. Like, that's our Fire Emblem, not Firehouse Emblem. Anyway, that's a huge announcements right there.
Yeah. Witcher 3 just says 2019 from what I can tell, so later this year.
Okay. But yeah, so they announced like 10 things in 18 minutes that are all huge, minus the Dark Crystal Netflix thing. But
we are ragging on that.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry.
No, it's not.
They showed off. We're just gonna go through this quick. They showed a very long Resident Evil trailer, which
that was probably the worst part of the direct.
That was like the low point. Yeah, it was.
It's fine. It was cheesy. It just went on for too long.
It was like, you can play Switch in a haunted house. Like, I don't know.
I feel like that was like someone from Capcom insisting, like, yo, you got to put this promotion in. They're like, okay.
The thing is like, he was like, would you want to play Resident Evil here before it started? And it was like, why didn't you just show them in the house and then show that it was Resident Evil they were playing? Then it would have made more sense. But so they're releasing Resident Evil 5 and 6 in the fall.
Yeah. Meh. So pretty much every Resident Evil now will come out this year.
Well, if you're in Japan, every Resident Evil's on Switch now.
Oh yeah,
because they had 7 streaming. So
yeah.
So the next big thing was No More Heroes 3. That's next year, release for that. So I played the first one on Wii. I thought it was interesting, but I never beat it
Yeah,
or anything. But it was fun. Just a big beat 'em up, run around,
yeah.
hack
My
slash.
my friends are big fans of it, and I think it's just like the personality and humor of it. So
Yeah, I think I was like the first like Wii game I fired up, and there was like all this cursing and cutting, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I was like,
yeah,
kind of taken off
I just
by
remember like you saved by like sitting on a toilet in that game.
it.
It's like so bizarre.
um, so then they showed Contra Rogue. What the hell did I write here? Oh, Contra Rogue Core, and it looks awful. It looks
Oh,
so ugly.
it looks so rough.
And I
So
saw like at the bottom, it's like gameplay footage is not final, and I'm like, I know why you put that because it looks garbage.
isn't that
um,
like coming out soon?
it's coming out September 24th.
Like, how can you say gameplay for not final and it's coming out in like 3 months?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look good, and but with that said, they released the Contra collection on the day of the launch as a shadow drop, it was
Yep.
$20 I think, and that came with like the arcade version of Contra, which you don't see very often. Operation C, which I believe is the Game Boy version. You had Super C, you had Contra for NES. You had the Alien Wars, Contra Hardcore, which was the Genesis version. So there was a lot of games that they announced on that collection that was shadow dropped, digital only, unless somebody else released it, but like
Like
limited run or
I'm aware
something.
of.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't look into it. I was tempted to buy it, but maybe not right now. But probably down the road. I grew
Mhm.
up with Super C. I never had Contra as a kid, but I had Super C, and I used to play that all the time. So, um, $20 Shadow Drop. It was cool.
Yeah.
Um, the next thing was Damon Machina X or Damon X Machina.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
September 13th launch date.
Yep.
Um,
So it's still out this year.
Still
Hmm.
this year, not delayed or anything like that.
It looked a little faster, more polished. I'm still interested to see how that shapes up.
Did you
So
see the Japan render for the controller that they're gonna release? That Hori's gonna release?
no, no.
Apparently, it's really big. It's like a big snap-on Joy-Con that gives it like it almost makes it look like a Xbox controller, like the
So you
old
like
Xbox
feel like you're
controller.
piloting a mech or
I think
something.
it's just to make your hands more comfortable, but it's a Hori controller, so I would assume it's officially licensed. And speaking of controllers, and we just spoke about Dragon Quest. Did you see the Dragon Quest controller?
That one I
That
didn't see. That's
looks
funny.
it's like $100, I think, so they're getting at.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
funny though.
this was something that caught my attention right away. Was Panzer Dragoon. Um, I played that game a lot on Saturn when it first came out. I had it. I actually traded it in when I was a kid to this guy who ran like a little video game booth by my house in this like mall. Um, but I traded it to him for I don't remember what the hell I got. Probably just money. Wasted it on pizza. But but yeah, that was one of my first Saturn games I ever had, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Is this Panzer Dragoon? Like, what the hell? What year is this?" And sure enough, Panzer Dragoon, winter
Yeah,
2019. I was like, "That's really cool." Like, I don't know if I'll pick it up right away, but if I can get it cheap at some point, I might pick it up again, check it out.
it's a fun surprise, just like
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
yeah. I just
So
thought it was really random. A lot of people were wanting Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is a very, very expensive game for Saturn. So people would really like that, and I think it'd be great to get some of these remakes of games that are very expensive or hard to find on older consoles.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the big thing about
Maybe it could lead to that. So
there's another rumor though about Panzer Dragoon Saga. I'm pretty sure that people have said that the source code's been lost for that. So um, some of these
this
old games you just don't have that. That's why people are so into preserving video games, trying to make
yeah.
sure this stuff doesn't happen. We got the Pokemon launch date, November 15th.
Yep.
They showed off the more of the new IP of Astral Chain from
That's
Platinum.
right.
So Platinum Games is making that. August 30th is the launch date. The game looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like you're like police officers or cops or something, agents, and
Hmm.
you're like capturing bad guys. It looks like they're like chained once you catch them, hence the astral chain, which is like they say it's like a powerful new weapon, blah blah blah. And if you like, you can get sucked into a portal, which takes you to like another world or something like that, or like another like I don't know if it's like an inverse world or what.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to see. At least when I watched the direct, I didn't really get what it was doing there. But the fact that you like caught an enemy and then that enemy's fighting on your behalf, then I thought was kind of
Hmm.
interesting. Like you're making the enemies fight each other. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's cool that you capture them not only for like combat purposes, but it looks like also for like navigating the world and stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it looks interesting. I'll probably wait and see what the reviews are for it. Um, I have a lot of games to play, so I don't know. That's a new IP is not really on the radar right now, but we'll see. They showed a game called Empire of Sin, which no
Yeah.
interest. 2020 is the
Some
release
mafia
date.
game. Okay.
The Marvel game that they showed, the was it Ultimate Alliance that's supposed to come out
Yeah.
in July
Oh
19th.
shoot. We forgot to mention that for the Square press conference. That was
Was
kind
that
of a
on the
big
Square one?
deal. Yeah.
Okay, so
No, the other Marvel game, the big one.
oh yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Oh well.
Honestly, it looked okay. It kind of looked like a different take on the movies. There you go. We talked about
So
it.
there was a big rumor about Crypt of the Necrodancer, the Cadence of Hyrule, um, coming out. Originally, people were saying it's going to come out May 20th. Well, May 20th has come and gone, and we don't have it yet. Then the rumor was June 20th
Yep.
or July 20th or something like
I
that.
think it was June 20th. Yeah.
So that was officially confirmed as June 13th, which means tomorrow. Today's June 12th.
Yes.
So by the time this is up, that game will be available. I just downloaded Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's currently on sale on the eShop for $4. So I picked it up, and it's okay. I only played about 10 minutes of it so far, but it's definitely gonna take some getting used to. But with the Zelda music, I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. The price for that is going to be $24.99, which I think is a little high for an indie, beat jumping game.
It's
But
it's $5 more than what the normal game
that's
is.
true.
So
That's true.
I guess it's just like a $5 Zelda tax, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
it could also be that it's a little more fleshed out than what the original is, more world to explore or something.
yeah.
So
And they said you can play as Link or Zelda,
yeah,
so that's interesting. See how they, incorporate that into the game. Um, so before we get to the big disappointment, there was one other announcement, which I don't know why they make these games still. Sonic and Mario go to the Olympics again. Comes out in November. I guess they sell
they
enough where they
sell,
keep
man, they
making them.
sell. Yeah,
So I remember one of them got the one
it's
for the
it's, it's
Wii
why
U.
Just Dance still releases for Wii.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the Sonic Rio game that came out for the Wii U, I think it was like they like pulled it from the shelves for like the rumor of like somebody cursing or flicking off like in the game. I don't know if do you remember that? It was a big thing in like the collecting community because people were like all of a sudden that game spiked and was going for like $200. And that's what they were saying. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's because they pulled it, they stopped production, blah blah blah." And all this stuff. So I'll have to look it up to see if I can confirm
That
that.
is
But I
interesting.
remember I remember hearing about it. It was like I don't remember if it was somebody getting flicked off or it was like something Sonic said that was like derogatory or something. I don't remember. It was something absurd.
They couldn't just patch it, or
I don't know.
I still remember when like the Splatoon kid in Mario Kart was like making an offensive remark with her like elbow and her.
Oh, because it was like this or something like that, and it was like
I don't remember. I don't want to do the expression, but it was basically the equivalent of like flicking someone off in Europe.
yeah.
And so they're like, "Oh shoot, we didn't realize that.
Yeah.
We'll just change the animation." So.
Yeah. Oh well. But so to the biggest news probably that people are looking forward to, was Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I can talk.
You want to talk? Sorry, I just kind of ran down the list. So
I know you don't have much to say, but I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, to me, it, like, I didn't play anything, but it looked kind of boring, especially being on an island. Like, I don't know, I just like, okay, I expected to see, like, I don't know, and I think Animal Crossing, the only thing I think of is like a town and all the characters that I've seen over the years, and I don't think about like being a person in the game and building everything from scratch and digging through stuff. I mean, I know that's what the game is. I don't picture that.
Yeah.
But the game's called It's called New Horizons.
New Horizons.
And
it's got me excited.
Yeah. So,
like, starting from scratch sounds so cool and refreshing as a concept. Like, yeah, we've been starting in this town the whole series, and now we get to customize everything. And you can put furniture outside now. You can make paths so super easy. They showed at the end of the trailer. It looked like the houses had different like exteriors to them. Pole vaulting across rivers. You don't need to worry about having to get a bridge built that will take months anymore. Yes.
So yeah, that looked. I mean, it looks all right, I guess. I mean, it's not my bag, baby. but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It's Animal Crossing, I guess. But it was announced that it was going to be delayed until March 2020, and Nintendo apologized for that due to wanting to give their customers the best game they could possibly make, yada yada yada. Which caused the stock to drop apparently, and people are all upset, and there's people that are online. People were saying like, this was supposed to be the showcase game of E3, and I'm like, they never said once that this was going to be like the showcase game. It was just, you expected that.
It was kind of just presumed based off the 2019 release date that it had, and like, all right, based off of the 2019 games, this one and Pokemon, but these are the two big.
The way I looked at it was it last E3 that they showed the Animal Crossing 2019 trailer?
They showed that
the Smash reveal.
The Smash reveal with Isabelle. It was in a September Direct.
Okay, was it September Direct? Okay, so when they showed that, they said 2019.
Yeah.
So at the very latest, I mean, with everything else coming out, people kind of assumed that Zelda was going to be September. Pokemon's always November. We're assuming Luigi will be October. So at the, Animal Crossing
November. So.
Yeah, Pokemon's November. Animal Crossing was probably slated for December.
That's what I was guessing.
That's because they're not going to stack two major games right behind each other, especially with you've got like if you look at what they got Mario Maker in June, Fire Emblem in July, Astral Chain in August. So they've had games, a major game first party every month of this year,
which is crazy,
which is huge. So Animal Crossing was probably slated for December, so they're delaying it 3 months. 3 months should not be a big deal. I don't understand why people are so upset over 3 months. I waited for Breath of the Wild for like 5 years. So I waited for Twilight Princess for like 5 years. All right, wait for a Zelda game and get upset. Don't get upset over a game that's delayed for 3 months.
Yes and no. Yes, in reality, it's probably only 3 months, but let me look up when the last Animal Crossing game was, and you might understand a little more.
It's New Leaf on 3DS.
New Leaf, yeah.
Which was probably 2013.
2012.
2012, okay.
Yeah.
I knew my buddy bought it when I went to Colorado, so I knew that.
Animal Crossing fans have been waiting like 7 years for a new Animal Crossing game of of the core franchise, and it'll probably end up being more like 8 years. So
Yeah, but I don't know. They gave you a date.
again,
They
it's not
gave
that
you
big.
a definitive
It's
date.
not that big a deal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. You have a definitive date that the game is coming. So,
I'm all for the reason of it, which I heard later reported was that they don't want to give like into crunch and like make sure the developers can make the game at a good pace where they're not like
like
overworking
Sakurai in Smash, killing
them.
himself to make.
He does that to himself. They force him to take vacations.
Yeah.
I love that man.
Leave me alone. You have everything.
Everyone is here. Please don't ask for anything ever again. But yeah, no, I can't wait for Animal Crossing. It'll be here soon enough, and it will be wonderful. So,
All right.
what else is
So,
left?
so yeah. So we're an hour and 30 in so far, and I'm just gonna do a quick run through of what's left. So,
I can only think of two big things, but go ahead.
So yeah, there's two big things left we need to talk about, but they showed a quick trailer. It had some release dates. They announced the Spyro collection coming to Switch. That comes out September 3rd. Hollow Knight Silksong, they said coming soon. Ni no Kuni, which was a big PS4 Japanese RPG. I know you picked that up. I know Sadish picked it up.
I like it especially since it has like collaboration with Studio Ghibli. Just
Yeah.
the animation is awesome.
Yeah, so that's coming to Switch. I don't remember when. I think it's next year. Minecraft is next year, spring. You have the Blades game we talked about from Bethesda, fall. My Friend Pedro, July. Doom's coming soon, Doom Eternal. A game called Sinking City comes out in fall. You have Wolfenstein coming out in July 26th. Dead by Daylight 5 coming out in September 24th. There's some Alien game here that I didn't write the full title down for. That's coming out this year. Dragon Quest is coming out. Oh, wait, there's another Dragon Quest. There's a Dragon Quest game coming out in July 12th.
Is it the Builders?
Maybe that's what it was. I knew there was another one I saw on the list.
Yeah, it might be the Builders.
There's the Stranger Things 3 thing we were talking about earlier.
No Netflix.
Yeah, no Netflix. Then they released Super Lucky Tale, which that's coming out for the fall.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Dauntless is coming out later this year.
I've been hearing good things about that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. I've heard it's like a kind of like a free-to-play Monster Hunter. That's what I've heard.
What's not to like about that?
Yeah, so there was that, and then there's another game here that I wrote down. Oh, Mario Maker.
Okay.
Mario Maker comes out June 28th, so we're about a week away.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. So stoked for that. So then came some great news. So Nintendo has trolled us forever, and you can put the troll video this way, over there. It was fantastic. So
everything about this next Smash trailer was perfection.
Yeah. So we talked about it in our last episode that we were going to say, that Banjo-Kazooie has to be the next character just based on the Microsoft partnership,
the rumors,
the move set that he has, just everything, the history just makes sense.
He's made for it.
So sure enough, they show Donkey Kong. Basically, it was like a remake of when they showed King K. Rool.
Except this time, King K. Rool was hanging out with the Donkey Kong.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. People were like, "What kind of party did they have?" So yeah, they were there hanging out, watching TV, and then you see a golden puzzle piece fly across the screen. I immediately was like, Banjo's coming. All right, it's confirmed. Cool. We talked about this. Confirmed. And then they show the shadow, and you just see these wings fly up, and you see the dumb look, and then the light comes on, and it's Duck Hunt Dog and the bird. So good. And then out of the sky, here comes
and
Banjo.
and the way that they did the Duck Hunt laugh, it was just like,
Oh yeah.
just like flying It's like your taunt is
Yeah.
infuriating.
So good, so good. And then Banjo falls out of the sky on top of him, and
Yes, and I just love how like Donkey Kong, Diddy, and King K. Rool, instead of having like they just started clapping. Like
they just started
we're all
applauding
happy.
like, this is
They know
awesome.
everyone's feelings right now, and they're just reciprocating it.
Yeah. Which is great. It's so funny too. Like, it's perfect for them to do that. Now I think about it too. Like, because it's like, well, why do they do it in Donkey Kong World again? But it's like Donkey Kong's a rare property as
They're
well.
all
I mean, it was a
characters,
rare
yeah,
character.
basically.
So,
Yeah.
or
So,
that from that world, Donkey Kong Country.
yeah.
So
They're like, welcome. You
Yeah.
finally made it.
But it was great, like how disappointed they were when Duck Hunt Dog showed up, and then they were just like, oh yeah, when it, yeah, that was great. So they did an awesome job, and like the move sets looked so cool. Spiral Mountain looked awesome.
Oh my gosh, Spiral Mountain looks gorgeous,
Yeah.
and the music playing with it, and just
Yeah, it was
really goofy
cool.
animations. It's like everything I could have ever wanted.
Him shooting and running with Kazooie was like, I loved
Kazooie
that.
out of his backpack and just slamming him down.
Yeah, that was great. So they did an awesome job with that announcement. But again, this all comes down to like I said, the beginning of this direct topic was like the rumors killed it. Like, it was still awesome. It was still really really cool. But it was like, all right, he's here. Like, that's great. But it's like we kind of knew he was coming, or it was just so rumored. It was just so.
Yes and no. It's like, even though all the rumors and signs pointed to it, it's like, I didn't
never know.
get my hopes up.
Yeah, I guess Banjo. Yeah, with Banjo, it's always difficult. But one thing we didn't get out of this direct, before we go to the last topic, was the rare replay. Which I totally thought if we were going to get Banjo, we'd get rare replay. Maybe we'll get that.
Very weird.
Maybe we'll get it in a future direct. I would assume like a September direct again or something.
Yeah, maybe when it's closer, because he's coming out in the fall, so there's still time that they could make an announcement for. They'll
do a direct before then. Yeah. So.
And one other thing that was missing in action that was weird was no game from Retro still.
Oh yeah.
Which I have to believe it must have been canceled. It must just be Metroid Prime 4 now.
your Reggie photo.
I have to let go of the dream. I can't. For the past 3 E3s, I predicted that Retro would show something. I just can't have any more disappointment. So I have to let go of the dream.
So with that said, Nintendo did what Nintendo does, and they said they have one more thing to show us. One more thing. And they cut to black, and you see these little green lines floating through the screen, and I was looking at it, I was like,
weird symbol is like, all right.
The very first thing I saw, when I saw the little green, I was thinking like Metroid. I was like, all right, they're going to show a Metroid. Just because, like, the opening of, like, Metroid Prime, how it's kind of, like, biological, like, you know.
Yeah, and there was like a faint heartbeat kind of at the start.
Yeah, just kind of like the way it was going. I was like, oh, this is Metroid. And then I was like, no, this is too, like, cartoony. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more cel-shaded, I guess, is what I was getting at. And then immediately it zooms out, and I'm like, that's Zelda and Link. What the hell is this?
Yeah, like, as soon as I saw the torch, just
the torch.
Not even like the characters. I was like, no.
Like when it just went out and I saw blue, I was like, that's Zelda and Link. What's this? What's going on? Like, uh-oh. And and the thing you said they're gonna show a new Zelda, and I was like, no, there's too much Zelda. They're not gonna do that. No, they did it.
They did it.
They did it.
They did it.
So,
and my gosh, did they do it well?
They showed this zombie-looking something. People are like thinking it's like Ganondorf, or it's like
the big debate is if it's Ganon or Demise, I guess, from Skyward Sword. Those seem to be the leading theories.
And they were playing some really weird music. It was just kind of like it sounded like a record player going backwards, just like
It does.
it was like really weird. And people have
Which
like,
apparently is the melody actually from people analyzing it of the game over screen. Do
okay,
do 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 do.
okay,
But played really weirdly. It's just
huh,
like disturbing now.
yeah. Well, people are saying that they swore they heard Fee or Fi or whatever from Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
That was her voice talking, because when you play it backwards, which people have put online,
Mhm.
it sounds like please release my body, or please help, or something like that. It was like all like I
Yeah.
was reading all
People
sorts of
are
stuff
hearing
people are
all
saying.
sorts of things. It's
Yeah,
kind of funny watching people go into the
it's
madness
kind of
here.
crazy. But then it shows them they're in like a basement, like a dungeon underneath the
Yeah.
castle, and
Mhm.
you just see this body, and like they touch something, and all of a sudden like they show above the castle, and the castle starts shaking, and there's dirt clouds, and then they go back, and it's just like the eyes light up on this dead monster. It's like hanging upside down.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so it's and then it cuts and says then the sequel to Breath of the Wild is under development. Well, we knew it was under development.
But yeah.
So that was kind of like, I don't think they needed to show that. I feel like they should have just shown the trailer and cut it. Like just cut the black after it and just been like, coming soon or something like that, or stay tuned for more details or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think it's just kind of like too obvious. Like
I
Zelda's
wish they
under.
had I wish they had a title. Like that would have been the perfect way, but
Yeah.
I guess they're not quite ready for that yet.
So a lot of people are saying that they only announced that because they delayed Animal Crossing. So,
Nah.
and because Metroid Prime 4 got restarted this year, and
I am glad they showed it. Not only was it like the perfect way to end E3, but just all the trailers for Breath of the Wild, all the build up to it, all leading up to that cinematic like story trailer that they had
which
in the
was
January
awesome.
direct. It's gotta be like the best trailer I've ever seen in games. Like, is my favorite trailer I've ever seen. And if they can build up that hype again starting now, like, let's do this. I'm ready for your next trailer and your next trailer and just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. And the tone that they set with this one is so good.
Yeah.
So creepy.
Yeah, it's really
It's,
creepy.
and
Because
just so much layers to dissect in it. It's so good.
yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it, but they
And
I
Stella
don't
has
think
a cool new hairstyle. She's all short hairs now, which people are wondering if she's going to be a playable character now, because
yeah, maybe.
apparently, like, long hair is hard to like render, I guess, as a playable character. So now she's got short hair. She should be easier to not worry about and play as.
Yeah. So yeah, some people were saying like I bet you're gonna play as Zelda and save Link this time or something like that, and it's like, oh, maybe, but
Or play as both
or play
characters. I
both.
think that'd
Yeah.
be awesome.
What if they do like
Yeah.
a co-op Zelda?
A
It's never
co-op Zelda or
like
split like storyline or something. Or I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, be interesting to see instead of Link cross-dressing this time. So they'll actually just let you play as like Zelda. Like, I mean, you played as like Sheik and stuff back in
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, but yeah, that was it was an unexpected surprise for sure. I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to finish it. I don't think we're gonna see it till 2021 at the earliest, but maybe
For actual release, yeah.
yeah.
I'm thinking either holiday next year as your best bet. More than likely 2021 though.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2021, but
But then again, they
who
are
knows?
reusing assets.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have a tone in mind. If they work hard enough, it could maybe come out next year.
Yeah, maybe. Because right
So,
now we don't have. I mean, there's a few games I mentioned that are coming out next year, but right now all we have is Animal Crossing.
honestly, I think Zelda will be coming out before Metroid Prime 4 though.
Yeah, which is
Um,
kind of crazy because we didn't see the fact that we saw the new Breath of the Wild before Metroid Prime trailer or a Bayonetta 3 trailer.
mhm.
Really shows that. I think it really shows that those games are like way far behind.
I do think Bayonetta 3 will come out next year. I
Well,
just think Platinum's just been too busy to like.
I think Platinum's too busy right now with Astral Chain. I think that's kind
Yeah,
of the
they're
main
doing so
project.
much,
So
so many games.
yeah,
So, but I'm sure they're still working on it, and it'll probably be by next year.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the major E3 announcements. There was, I mentioned some of the other little stuff like the arcade one up floor, and we had Hyperkin. Hyperkin is doing a Ultra 64 HD, which is a Nintendo 64 clone system, which is going to be using emulation. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, emulation is never like the best way to go, but we currently don't have a clone N64 console on the market, especially an easy way to do HDMI out with a N64. So I think that's a cool thing coming from Hyperkin. Their quality's kind of depends. Some systems are good, some are not as good. But we'll see what comes from this. If they can fix it up, the emulation works well because Nintendo 64 emulation is pretty bad still to this day, just because of the complexity of that system and just it was never really designed or not designed well, but it was never really figured out completely. I think you'll probably have about an like 80% compatibility. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And then the one small announcement last night was the Konami announcing the mini TurboGrafx system, which I'm excited for. It looks like it's going to have like the Turbo CD games as well. So there's a Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which came out in Japan only on CD. It's basically like Dracula X. It's Castlevania Dracula X, but it's a better version of it. Cutscenes, better music, stuff like that. So apparently it was announced on the Japanese version already, but it was not announced on the English version. So everyone's kind of hoping that the English version is going to get it too, because it was never released. It was never released here in the West, other than the Japanese version was available on the Wii Virtual Console. So it'll be interesting to see what comes from that. But I think that's really cool. I'm excited for that. One other thing, I guess, real quick, Mario Maker 2 comes out in 2 weeks, like we said.
Yes.
Nintendo has apparently said that they're going to fix the ability to allow you to play online with your friends, which is huge because, first of all, Nintendo never listens to people. Second of all, that should have been there to start with. So it's good to see. It's good to see them going back and listening to customer feedback and making sure that people are happy.
It was so weird, just like the notion of them being like, we will only let you play with strangers online.
Yeah,
it's like opposite of what Nintendo.
We don't want you to talk on your Switch because you might talk to a stranger, but we're only going to let you play games with strangers.
So yeah, the fact that they'll be fixing this is good. That's good in my books,
Yeah, it's great. Better late than never. Better late than never. So.
As long as it's coming, I'm happy.
So. All right. Well, that was a good hour and 49 minutes. So with a little bit of editing here and a little bit of editing there, we'll shrink this down to about an hour and 47 minutes. So
honestly, not bad for considering it's E3.
So. Not bad with everything that we packed in there. And my throat is killing me because I'm sick, and hopefully coughing into the mic didn't annoy too many people. And yeah, so I'm going to actually try to play some games that I've purchased and try to get my Game Pass working. And next episode, we can talk about what we've been playing, since right now we're not really playing anything because we're just kind of taking in all this news.
Consuming all the media now.
Yeah, so get your pre-orders done if you haven't, especially for the games with limited releases. Get your E3 sales on before the end. And until then,
happy gaming all.
Happy gaming. See you guys later.